Hey guys, it's Z. In this episode, this is going to be just the first introduction of the short little snippet videos that we said we're going to start releasing. Basically, the point of these little videos are just so that when you're feeling for that 5 minute short conversation, or when you just want to hear someone go off on a tangent about something that you've been thinking about, and then it's also for us as the co-host to, impart some of the things that we are going through, and hopefully that you guys can learn from it. And we're also interested in hearing you guys' stories. So DM us for information on how you can come onto the platform and share your story as well. So these short little snippets are basically going to be advices, stories. Each of the co-hosts and stuff are going to have one. I'm starting with mine today, and in my one, I'm going to start with people pleasing. So in a couple of the videos before, I have mentioned that I am a people pleaser in recovery. And one of my main hardest things when I'm like in the recovering process of being a people pleaser, one of the hardest hurdles that I've had to jump over is when I'm doing things for other people. And I spoke about this in the New Year resolution episodes. Is that when I'm doing things for people and stuff like that, I tend to struggle to differentiate when I'm doing something because I want to do it, or I'm doing something because I think I want to do it. And in that sense, like, let me break it down. Like, we've all got those things that we think we're supposed to do them. Like, there's this expectation from not only other people's, but even from ourselves, where we put these expectations of things that we're supposed to do. Like, for instance, I'm the eldest daughter of four kids. I'm my mother's eldest daughter, my grandmother's eldest grandchild. I am the first grandchild of the family, as well, or one of the first grandchildren of the family. And that in itself comes with a lot of pressures, comes with a lot of weight personally for me. And because of a health scare that my mom had a couple of years ago, the dynamics of my family shifted really weirdly, in a sense of I had to kind of like carry more weight to help the family run and stuff like that. And once my mom got all better and everything, it kind of became a struggle for me to know the things that I need to do and the things that I don't need to do. Because when my mother was sick and she was away, I was so used to becoming a mother to my siblings and stuff like that. And in most recent years, I've kind of had to unlearn within the journey of undoing the people pleasing. I've kind of had to unlearn that I don't have to do things for other people unless they ask me to. And there are certain things that I really don't have to do even if they don't ask me to. I have this thing of I tend to go and collect other people's problems, and then I'll say the weight is heavy on my shoulders. And to be honest, I didn't really notice that I do it. I didn't notice that I go and I fetch weight to carry. And a lot of people, you don't really notice these things about yourself. What you're in a sense trying to do is take the weight off someone else's shoulders, and you don't really see that it's putting weight on your shoulders. You just, like, the way I came with it, I always want to help people. You see people in the everyday world, these some people walk around like they've got this weight on their shoulders. And I always saw that, especially within my own family, with my grandmother, with my mom and stuff like that. And being the helpful person I am, as well as being in a position as the eldest child where I kind of always had to help someone, I picked up the tendencies of going to fetch problems. Like, if you say, yo, my back is sore, before you even ask me, dude, I'm going to go and start things too. I'm going to go and start fetching things to help you figure out ways to fix your back. But you've never asked me to fix your back. And in this kind of world, I've kind of picked up that it doesn't really it leaves you up for vulnerable. It leaves you vulnerable for people to use you. Being that type of person, because guys, I have stories. I have stories on how I have been used, and I don't realize that I'm being used because people have problems every day. And problems is one of those things that is not going to run out, not anytime soon, right? And if I'm being frank, I used to go in, or I go, or tend to go and help other people with their problems because I'm avoiding fixing mine. And that's deep, guys. That's personally deep. And why I want to come onto here and share my own experiences and stuff like that is that I feel like it's not really told that, guys, as much as it's help the next person, start within yourself, you know. Within my household, it's something that's always been enforced, right? Be selfish, be a selfish person. But within that as well, within being a selfish person, right? Within being a selfish person, right, it can get so confused in that bad negativity light of selfishness, you know, where you only look out for yourself and stuff like that. And I feel like selfishness needs to be enforced in a way that it's not negative, you know. Like my mom had always tried to implement that be selfish and all of that. But I guess I never took it that way. I always took it as be selfish, sure, but then also always help the other person, because help was always expected of me to give as the eldest, you know. There are certain hierarchies within certain families that are unintentionally implied, you know. You don't even have to, it doesn't even have to be a said thing, right? Like for my whole life I was always expected, if someone needs help, go ask Zile. If things need to be done, go ask Zile, you know. And in my older years, when I'm now trying to figure out my own life and stuff like that, having to put up the boundaries of, okay guys, I know you need my help, but I don't even have enough to help me right now, or I'm busy helping myself in a way right now, having to put up those boundaries from people pleasing. Yeah, yo guys, it's been a journey, you know, it's been a journey. And going back to, how can you tell if you're doing something because you want to or because you think you have to? It's genuinely from deep within your soul, and how much energy it takes, you know. That's been the kind of like the biggest thing for me. That's how I can tell whether I'm doing things when I really really want to, or whether I'm doing things because I feel like I have to. Because my mom pointed out something recently, is that when you really want to, guys, you make a plan. You make a plan, you make an effort. It's not like pulling out teeth, you know. The river flows, things move within itself. But then when you think you have to, or when you don't want to, and then you're for selling yourself, you're gonna keep running into roadblocks, and your mood is also gonna change within having to do it, right? Like most recently, I've been struggling with having a lot of motivation for work and motivation for my own personal things. And I kind of picked up it's because I'm going back. I'm kind of reverting into my old habits of, I pick up things for other people, and you do, a lot of the time you don't even realize when you tend to do it, right? It's because our old habits that try and drain us and stuff also chameleon, they also shapeshift to the situation that you find yourself in, you know. And I kind of find myself in a lot of situations where there's a lot of people around me that need help, and within that I also just need to find my balance of helping the next person without draining from myself, you know. My mom has shown my sister, we had been talking about, I don't know what they had been talking about, but I actually walked in on a conversation where my mom was explaining to my sister and a friend of ours how giving to others is, and she was using the analogy of a cup, right? Let's say that you're this cup, and you are this cup. No matter what's inside, you will always be this cup, right? And everything else is all around it, right? And then she was saying the analogy of, you can't pour from an empty cup. What you give to people is whatever overfills from this cup, right? So you need to find the thing that fills your cup, fills your cup, fills your cup, to the point where you're so full that you can overfill and give to others. You know, there's no such thing as overfilling. You're so full that you have so much more to give to others, you know. Instead of pouring from into other people's cups like this, you know, from whatever you have inside, because eventually what's going to happen is that you're going to run out, and then everybody's going to be like mapa mapa mapa. And I think I found myself in this kind of crossroads with my people pleasing tendencies, and I feel like there's so much more depth that goes into that. And if you guys have any questions, please do let me know, because again, as and I've mentioned this a lot of the time on the podcast, that my main objective within the big objective of the podcast, but my main objective as a host on the platform is to share my own life experiences as I go through them, in the hopes of someone else who's watching me might learn. Because I've got three younger sisters, two younger cousins, and a bunch of other younger friends or younger siblings. I honestly take some of my friends' siblings as also my younger siblings, and they look up to me while I'm still kind of, trying to figure this thing out. And I feel like the platform has also given me the best place to do that, to be myself and to show myself in a way that is quite scary at times, but it's also quite empowering just to, be able to use my words and everything. Because, guys, before this podcast, I had my social skills was almost zero to none. That was half and half due to the fact that I've been unschooled for the past 7 years, and due to the fact that my social anxiety is bad. But the podcast has also helped me slowly step out of my shell and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the piece of advice that I have for us. Not necessarily the piece of advice, but that's the piece of experience that I have for today, is to tell the difference between, like, when you're telling the difference between, are you doing something just for just, or are you doing something because you want to, or are you doing something because you think you have to. It's from within yourself, you feel the energy difference. One, it doesn't drain you as much, and it's never easy to actually go within yourself and be like, I actually want to do this. It's quite a scary thought. It's quite a scary thought. And I will definitely be doing a video on change and how change can be scary for each person's experience, and how the change of people pleasing and setting up boundaries has been for me. I'm definitely gonna do a video for that, but I do want to keep this video short. Thank you guys for staying as long as you've stayed. I'm sorry kind of for like my setup. I'm doing the best that I can. But yeah, thank you so much. Peace. This has been Zile.